Hi, this is Anjala Khan. Today, Integrator Media is here to interview Mr. Nandan Mer, Group CEO at Network International, who brings a wealth of knowledge through his 30 plus years of expertise in the industry. We look forward on discussing on payment solutions in the region and beyond. So, thank you, Mr. Nandan, for taking out time to talk to the Integrator.
Good morning, Angela. Thank you for interviewing me.
So, Nandan, you've been leading Network International for some time now. Can you tell us about your journey as the Group CEO?
Sure. So I had the privilege of joining Network a little over 3 years ago. And I say privilege because Network is a company with great people to work with. We have 2,000 professionals that are based in 50 countries that are payment industry experts. And if you just multiplied the experience that they have with the number of employees that we have, it would run into tens of thousands of years. So it's always a privilege coming to work every day, listening to their ideas, learning from them, and then hopefully contributing to the thinking that they bring to the table and collectively leading this organization forward. When I got here, the firm itself had 27 years of experience in the industry. So it wasn't a very young firm, young enough, but not new, and has had a fabulous track record in those 27 years of serving 200 banks, helping them credentialize their consumer products, as well as acquiring, for merchants, for over 100,000 merchants across the 50 markets that we do business in. So my role was relatively simple. When you're working with very smart people and you're working with a franchise that has already established itself well, the role of any CEO becomes very simple. The role is then more in the realm of fine-tuning, helping improve the technologies through experience. And, I've had the privilege of working in the US and Europe and across many Asian markets. So bringing some of that thinking, the learnings that I gathered in those 30 years that you referenced in these markets and supplanting it with the needs of our customers in this region.
Thank you for sharing that with us. Could you also provide an overview of Network's efforts to better support fintech and financial institutions and contribute to the UAE's growth in digital economy?
Sure. So I'm going to lean on our purpose. We define our purpose as a company as helping businesses succeed. And that involves banks, that involves fintechs, that involves merchants, and helping economies prosper. So that's what we think about when we come to work every day, all 2,000 plus Network colleagues of mine and myself. And so our job is to make technology more effective, less expensive, and more secure. And there are many other attributes to technology, but I'm just picking a few that can help banks, fintechs serve their customers better. So what does that mean? That means that the banks and fintechs are constantly innovating their product solutions, they're innovating their UX and their customer experience, and we go on that journey with them as their technology partners. So with 200 banks, we get, I'm going to say roughly about 2,000 to 3,000 ideas about how to do that better on an annual basis. And then our roughly 1,000 technologists out of the 2,000 people that we have on our team, 1,000 are pure technologists. They then get to work to bring those ideas to life from a technology standpoint and then bring it back to the banks and fintechs. One of the things that we're really, really proud of is the number of fintechs that we have enabled to go to market in the 50 markets that we're in. We like fintechs because they bring fresh thinking to the table. They're constantly innovating. They're definitely challenging the status quo in the markets, in the financial markets, and how consumers are served by financial institutions. So we like that. We like the challenger thinking. What the fintechs really struggle with is the investment that they have to make in operations and technology to get started. They have so many things to look after when they're launching a business, as an entrepreneur or as a young management team. You have to worry about distribution, marketing, product quality, et cetera, et cetera. And we then do the heavy lifting on operations and technology. And we also ensure that they don't have to spend high amounts of capital to bring operations and technology to life. Because what we do is we then offer it to them on a per transaction basis. So we democratize the cost of doing business for fintechs. And that's the reason why we've been able to onboard a lot of fintechs in the last 3 to 5 years.
And that's a very insightful knowledge, I must say. Also, Network seems to be expanding its services beyond the UAE. So, what growth targets is the company focusing on for the years to come, particularly in markets such as Saudi Arabia, Egypt, Qatar, etc.?
Sure. So we're fortunate to be born in the UAE in 1994. This is our home. We're a global company that has a global headquarters in the UAE, and that's because of the fabulous talent pool that we've had access to here in the UAE. But we've branched out, like I said, into 50 other countries. So our recent, I'm going to say, forays from a growth perspective have been Saudi Arabia. I'll pick on that one first. We've not had a business in Saudi Arabia until a couple of years ago. And then a couple of years ago, we started investing in Saudi Arabia. We put our technology on soil. We've capitalized. We've created a new company. We've capitalized it. We've hired very talented Saudi nationals to lead and to be on our team. And we've partnered with the central bank and with Saudi Payments to create and enable our services for Saudi banks and Saudi fintechs. We've earned the trust of many Saudi fintechs, and we now already have 12 customers in Saudi Arabia. So we're very, very pleased with our ramp up. We were also blessed with a direct acquiring license by the Saudi Central Bank, SAMA. We are the first foreign company to be fully licensed in the acquiring space in Saudi Arabia. It's a responsibility and a privilege that we don't take lightly. We know we have to come in and offer a bunch of innovative services that will help serve the Saudi businesses better than they're already being served, as well as help the economy grow. So Saudi's been taken up a considerable amount of focus, and we put in a lot of investment into Saudi Arabia. We've also acquired, in the last 2.5 years, we've acquired large payment companies based out of South Africa and Kenya in the name of DPO as well as PayFast. And post-acquisition, we've scaled up those companies also. We've invested significantly in the scaling them up. We've taken them to new markets in Africa, and we've helped with the scaling up of those companies. We've just started our foray into Morocco. That's an exciting new market for us. We have been servicing Moroccan banks, but outside Morocco. And our Moroccan banks have been asking us to come to Morocco to help them with their technology journey in Morocco. And so we've just recently established our office in Morocco, and we are growing our office there based on the conversations we're having with with Moroccan banks.
So I understand that you're expanding the market. I'd like to talk about Ani. Since Ani is a new player, how do you envision Ani integrating into this market? I mean, does the network view Ani as a challenge?
So we applaud the foresight and the investment that the central bank of the UAE is making in establishing capabilities such as Ani. Faster payments is, and you'll know this from all your experience of talking to people in various markets, is an important new service that complements the card rails and bank-to-bank payments and etc. So P2P payments are very important. Instant payments across counterparties is everything's instant these days, right? So why not instant payments? So Ani is a great new technological advance. We embrace it. We were one of the first companies in the UAE to connect to the domestic switch. We are one of the first companies to accept Ani at our point of sale terminals. And so we applaud this journey. We think it's a very important complement to the digital payments ecosystem here in the UAE. And as a network, we will do everything to enable the success of Ani.
That's great. Since you talked about technology, let me follow up with another tech question. So, how is Network advancing its technologies? Is the company exploring other technologies like fingerprints on terminals? What is the future of this technology?
Yeah. So I'd say one of the hallmarks of Network is that we're always thinking ahead, and we're always innovating, trying to push the boundaries of enabling faster, cheaper, and more secure technology, right? And biometrics, as you referenced, is very important from a security standpoint, enhancing security. The more you can eliminate fraud in any transaction, the more confidence you give consumers and merchants with regard to the transaction flows, electronic transaction flows. Pleased to say that fraud levels are relatively low in the markets in which we are doing business, and partly because of the ecosystem players putting in great fraud tools and constantly enhancing our fraud tools. Artificial intelligence has a major role to play in that, just learning from past experiences with regard to how fraudsters think and how they act, and staying one step ahead of them. So I don't think you can ever underscore the role of new technologies and new capabilities in making the ecosystem, the electronic payments ecosystem, much more efficient. And we have a role to play, as we are the leader in the payments ecosystem in the Middle East and Africa. By volume, we process roughly $100 billion of transactions across these 20 million credentials and 100,000 plus merchants that we have. So it's incumbent on us as the market leader to also demonstrate the value of enhanced technologies. Obviously, those technologies are evaluated before we launch them, and we do that in a very thoughtful way that enhances the the security of the ecosystem. I'll say this, that not all technologies are adopted the way you expect them to be adopted by either by merchants or by consumers. But unless you give it a shot, you're never going to know, right? And you got to keep experimenting on I won't call it the fringes, but keep pushing the boundaries. And unless you understand, unless you launch something, you'll never understand what the adoption challenges are and how to deal with it. So yeah, you'll hopefully you'll agree with me that network is very innovative when it comes to adopting as well as launching new capabilities, technology capabilities in the market.
Yeah, that's very relevant. Let me ask you this. How do you envision collaborating on blockchain technology with other companies, particularly in the realms of B2B payment solutions and SME lending solutions?
Okay, very topical. I'm glad you asked this question. And the reason is we've just been bestowed with a stored value license by the Central Bank of the UAE, which enables us to actually do the kinds of things that you just referenced. Without that license, we could not have provided some of the solutions that you just referenced. So this is all a white space for us. We have been, in anticipation of this license, developing technologies and developing capabilities. We are very excited about B2B payments. As you know, B2B payments, purely in terms of volume, is a much larger pie than B2C payments, or consumers to institutions and to merchants. And these flows are, I'm going to say they're ripe for provisioning of greater efficiency, greater security, and making them faster, right? And we have the technology capability, we have the experience within the company. We have a ton of people here who come from the B2B payments world. Now that we have the requisite central bank licenses, we're ready to go.
I totally agree with you. So this brings us to our last question. What are your thoughts on open banking with new regulations coming in?
Yeah, open banking to me is just a continuation of the work that fintechs and the technology disruptors. It gives them an opportunity to do this where it reduces the friction in their ability to launch new products in the market. So I think in talking to the bankers, I like the evolution of thinking in the minds of the bankers who are also embracing open banking. So yes, there's a framework, and yes, there's technology that has to facilitate open banking, but ultimately open banking is about establishing partnerships between banks and companies that are looking to launch new products off the data and the history that the banks have, and of course leverage their balance sheet in a meaningful way. So open banking has demonstrated its value in other parts of the world. I have no doubt that open banking over a period of time in the markets and we operate will achieve the same advances that open banking has achieved in, let's say, in Europe and partially in the US. And we're learning the lessons. Not everything works, right? So we're learning the lessons from these markets and how we approach open banking in our region. And again, we are developing technologies to help companies that are leveraging open banking to go to market faster, to offer a good UX and CX, and to offer it at a reasonable cost point so that they can then achieve scale. Because cost matters, and in achieving scale.
That was a very thorough explanation. That's all from my end. Thank you, Nandan, again, for taking your time out. And it was a pleasure speaking with you.
Yeah. Thank you for speaking to me.